And then look at this. This might be the coolest thing I've seen so far. And here we are at the toy section. Oh gooseness, I don't even know where to begin. Let's see what we got here. This looks fun. Can we look through there? Oh. Well, hello and welcome to Hello, I Am Clutch, where I am here today in Kansas City, Missouri to go to the National Toy and Miniature Museum. Now, if you've been on the channel before, you know that I really love unique, quirky museums, and I also really like miniatures. And this place is a wonderful combination of both. Now, I've never been here before, so I'm really excited in this video to take you around, show you what exhibits they have, show you the fun displays they have. I think they have a cool rotating exhibition right now that might be Star Wars related. It's what the sign looked like when I was coming in. So I'm really excited to see what they have on offer here and take you along with me today. So please, follow me. Now, as we come inside, I did want to just appreciate the outside of this building, the architecture of it. It's just really beautiful building, beautiful space. And it just, you wouldn't expect there to be such a cool museum on the inside. But apparently there is. I've heard great things. I'm really excited for this. I love miniatures. Let's get going. All right, so we're inside and we just got our tickets. It's $12 for adults, $6 for children. A lot of fun stuff here. It starts actually with an introduction video if you want to watch. It's like a 5-minute video. They said that the miniatures were on the first floor here. All the toys are on the second floor. To kind of show you a little bit, here's a bit of a map so you can see what we're going to be seeing. So we got 2 full floors. I'm not sure exactly how long this is all going to take. I guess it kind of is what pace you go with, but we're going to probably start with the introduction video and then check out the miniatures on the first floor, because the first floor, you know, it's below the second floor. It makes sense to go in that order. So I'm not going to show the whole introduction movie here, but just wanted to show you that to start it, you have to push a button at the bottom. That was very exciting for me. But anyway, I'll catch you at the beginning of the museum. So we watched that little introduction movie, which was really cool, a little informative to give you kind of some more context. Just wanted to point out as we're walking to the miniatures, this big fun spiral thing going up to the second floor. But as we go to the fine scale miniatures, first you got a nice little display on the right showing some old stuff. But something before we fully go in I love is I have these. It says take a closer look. You can borrow a magnifying glass so you can look at it a little bit closer. Fortunately for you, you don't need a magnifying glass. You have my camera zoom. And here we go. Let's enter the miniature area. This is great. This is very, very well displayed with a lot of stuff. Like, it starts off by talking about the fine scale miniatures, how the most popular scale for miniatures is 1 to 12. So 1 inch equals 12 inches, because that's one of the things that appeals to me about miniatures, like properly made miniatures, is their scale. So that is what really sells me on a lot, and what I think is amazing is they kind of talk about in the introduction video, again, that I didn't show too much of, is like there's so much precision in the way miniatures work, and you'll see that as we go around here. There's already so much to look. I don't even know where to begin. So let's start over here with some cool little furniture. There's this neat furniture, so there's not really like explanations of everything, but some of them there is. So like these are Nuremberg chests from 1992, and if you look really close, and I'll try to get out of the light for you, it's just so much artistry and detail. It's very cool, and like every display case can have like really neat stuff where we have some swords, we have a knight in shining armor over here, and then we have more armoires and chairs and very, very small ones. Look at that. Look how small that gets. Like, the precision to make that is just incredible. I think that's a little below the 1/12 scale. Next, we have the French Gallery. Ooh la la. Look at what we have in here. Again, lots of more furniture, but like, oh, I think these things are neat. These are like an old, I believe people would sit in them. It's almost like a carriage, but humans would carry it. I know it from like History of the World Part 1. That's where I know it from. That's all I have. Oh my gosh, there's so much interesting stuff where I say this in my other miniature videos, like my camera is not really gonna do it justice. I can't show you every little thing because there's just so much. But some of this is really neat. Like, and I love that this museum has like 2 flavors. It has the miniature flavor, and then we're gonna get to the toys later. And I'm really excited to see like both of what we have here. But like, oh, this is cool. Look at this room here. I love when they do this, when it's like inlaid into the wall and you have a miniature. That's something I like. Sorry, I was trying to say light as well because I was gonna say sorry for the flashing lights, but I can't control it, but it looks like flames. Oh, look, we have an interactive one. It's a music table, and then you get to do that and see all sides of it. And if you know Clutch, you know I love interactives like that. That is fantastic. And then over here we have a Boston Beacon Hill House from 1957. Like, now this is very small scale. This is definitely not 1/12. I don't know, it doesn't say what the scale is that I can see, but like, just look at that. That is fantastic. And like, I've always loved with miniature houses is the idea like you can see all the rooms at the same time, that you can see like the stairs going up, and then you can like zoom in to like really like get those finer details again. They have magnifying glasses for you when you're here if you need to use it that way. But for me, I can just use the camera and then you can benefit from it as I try to make it focused. Got some musical instruments over here. Looks like we got some pianos, and I was going to say that kind of looks like an organ, but not quite. We got a piano, but then over here, a variety of instruments. Look at this. We got a lot of string instruments over here. We got some percussion down here. This is awesome. I've never seen this many instruments. Oh, we got a French horn. We got the brass section. This is great. Look at this harp. Look at that harp. That's a great harp. Continuing around the corner here, we have the violin maker shop, which this is interesting. I have at another miniature museum, I've also seen a violin with violins on the inside. So that's really cool. But just, oh my gosh, this is a nice little display here talking about the miniature movement, or the miniature art movement, talking about like some of the excitement around miniatures, why people like it, and showing like how we have like different books that talk about it, because like it is great. Like just seeing all this and the love of it, and I don't know, I find this just all so cool. Some of this gets so small. Like, look at the size of these things. These are little goblets and glassware. Like, these are like that. Like, that's my finger for a comparison. Like, they're like smaller than my nail. This is just crazy how small these can get. This is insane, the detail. Oh, I like these chandeliers up here. The light makes it impossible. See, there you go. There, maybe? Yes. I got this big house right here, and it's not really lit up, so you can't see inside super well. But what I love is when you keep going, it's now some like more furniture. I mean, furniture is a big part of like the miniature world, but like, again, not gonna show you everything, but like there is so much to look at closely. We're like, look at all this, then it becomes a humongous case here, and it just keeps going, and it's fantastic. But behind that, you do have another house with different rooms you can look at. And what I like about this one is you can see it on this side, and then if you go around, you can also see it on this side. It is double-sided, so you can see all the way through, which I just think is really cool. These are really cool. So we've been looking at like those big houses, but these are like miniature houses here. Like, they are so tiny. Like, this one is really cool. So this says it's a Baroque baby house from 2003, and it's like a cabinet that you would open to then see inside. And just the precision of this is just insane. I know I'm saying precision a lot. I'm precise with how much I'm gonna say precision. The next section we have is the Masterpiece Gallery. This looks very ominous. This is very like dark, so it's just this kind of one little area in here. But it looks like all of them have a little knob next to them. But not all of them turn, according to the wife, which she's correct. They'll have a knob, but they don't all turn. So like, here's one. This one looks like it'll turn. There you go. So you can turn that and make it so that it actually moves, so you can see all sides. It takes a little bit of effort. So within the Masterpiece Gallery, they do have a big interactive screen where you can learn about each one. So if you want to actually see like this little carriage here, you can see what it is, what year it's from. You can go to the construction tab, learn about it. So even though not everything has like a display that says what it's all about, this section does have more explanation. Leaving the Masterpiece Gallery to this section, it just really opens up. Oh my gosh, look at the size of these houses. This is amazing. We got like some stairs over there. I don't think we go up those, but they're stairs. But like over here in the corner, we have some more about like the skill and technique of it all. Like, this is the artist studio talking about how it's made and such like that. But before we get too into all that, because I think we'll come back this way, let's go a little deeper into this. But like, look at the size of this house. It is a little bit more barren. Oh, but they have a greenhouse on the outside. I always love when there's a greenhouse situation there. That's awesome. And there's just, oh my gosh, these are so cool. What do we have here? A log cabin from the Indiana Frontier log cabin we have here. That's very neat. And then look at this. This might be the coolest thing I've seen so far. This says it is the Morningside Cottage from 1990. Look at this. Wow, that is beautiful. That is so cool. I love it. On the side of that, there's a button to push. Let's see. Oh, that turns on the light on the inside. Oh, I love that. That's great. That's so fun. Let's look on the other side. Oh, it's open on the back. It turned on all the lights in the house. Look at this. Oh, that's wonderful. This is so cool. So I turned on all the electricity. Now you can see in the house. And there you go. Cottage. And this is the backside of the River Bend Farm from 1992. This is great. There's just so much cool stuff to look at in these places. Like, it's obviously one of those places where you could spend, like, you could go through quick, or you could spend hours here just, like, looking at everything. Now, the front, obviously, it's still huge and amazing, but it's that, when you get to see inside, that's really what it's all about. And Clutch said, "Let there be light." That wasn't as dramatic as I thought it was going to be. And then next we have the miniature maze, which doesn't look very complicated, but we'll see. This is neat. This is a whole classroom of artists making miniatures. It's a room of people making miniatures. No people, but there are, the miniature inception is getting me. So this maze really only goes one way. Not a very complicated maze, but within the walls there's like little scenes. Again, not everything has an explanation, so some of it's just cool to look at. They're all a little bit different. They're like this is like single room of a house, or with the stairs there. It's like this is like in a picture frame, which is kind of neat. Like everything is worth looking at. It's all so cool. But I love the inlay of each little thing. Oh, this is kind of neat. So they have like a dome that is having audio. So if you sit down here, you can hear what's on the TV. But then you got this cool, I'm going to say triptych, where there's 3 things here, 3 rooms, like very, very ornate. Like this looks like really cool, like European manners. This looks very Pride and Prejudice in here, or maybe a little Beauty and the Beast, especially this room. I mean, just learning about this really is a tale as old as time. It is a song as old as rhyme. Clutch and the miniatures. I love this over here. This is like you're at an actual like art museum. Like when I go close like this, it almost looks like I'm actually there. Like that's with the framing. Like I'm really at an art museum looking at this. This is really fun. But something I love is that when you get to the middle section, they have this amazing foyer area. And then beyond that, if you can see, they have like a cityscape of, I'm assuming it's Kansas City behind there. But I just love that they have that layering, those different like inside and outside parts there. That's awesome. And then it does continue some more. Again, this maze is really easy. Oh, I like this one in particular. This looks like an old firehouse. This is great. This very much reminds me of Fire in the Hole at Silver Dollar City, or Blazing Fury at Dollywood. It's just, I love that they have all this here. It's very cool. And then over here, I thought this was kind of neat. This is very old, kind of Art Deco-ish bathroom in here, which I don't know, something I make a reference to a lot. It reminds me of the video game BioShock, which is one of my favorite games of all time. If you know that game, you might understand how that connects. It also reminds me of a movie called Dark City, which feels like there's a bit of an overlap there. Might be a little hard to see with the light, but it does say this is the Native Peoples Gallery. So it looks like we have some more Native Americans and their art and miniature form as well here. This is awesome. This is really cool, some of the stuff here. Again, no words. I think there's an app where you can like look up more stuff and get some more context with like the specifics, but otherwise it's still just the craftsmanship of all of it is really cool. And I definitely love this part right here with the way you can see, again, inside of a house. Definitely feels a little bit more deserty than some of the other stuff we've seen. And I'm just, I like that juxtaposition. This one is particularly neat. This is the antechamber to the Senate chamber. It's supposed to emulate Venice and just the artistry at the ceiling there. And you can see even at the way top, they have the painting as well. That is, all of this is just, it's too good not to show. So going back into that artist studio now, just want to show you a little closer on all the things they're showing and how they make it. So like they have like coffee pots, rugs, tables, violins, like what mantles look like as different pieces. I think it's cool. This is the exploded view. Kaboom! There's a neat little interactive here talking about how like artists need like steady hands for the fine scale miniatures, because they have this up here so that you can go to like, you can go, this is not gonna come across super great, but like you can use the magnet. Does that turn on the light? Yep. And then you can take the tweezers and then you can try to like, it's so hard to show it. You can kind of grab the little pieces of the clock. Let's see how well I can do this. This is impossible to do. I can't do this while looking through the camera. And so the wife's gonna try to demonstrate here, where you try to put that on the clock and just show you like, it really does take steady and precise hands. Missed it by that much. This section is the micro curiosities. It says, prepare to be amazed. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm prepared to be amazed. Okay, let's see what we got here. This looks fun. Can we look through there? Oh, look at that. You can't see it quite well. Can I focus it? It is so hard to make it, but it is this little like, I think it's little wood carving on the end of like a wood stick. I'm trying to get closer, see if that can focus it somehow. Unfortunately, the way the camera works, maybe I can just do it this way. So here's what it looks like when it's, not zoomed. And so my camera can kind of do what we needed it to do for you. There you go. You can kind of see it. But anyway, you can see just kind of, if I zoom back out, how incredibly small that is. And that is some real microscopic amazement. I was prepared. That's good. Now, as we exit the miniature section, there's some more miniatures. Just a few more miniatures on the way out. And again, so now we're done with miniatures, but we have a whole second part to do to go up to the second floor to see all the toy collection. As we go to the toys, you can see the featured exhibition. The force is strong with that one. Yes, yes. And here we are at the toy section. Oh, gooseness. You can go any which way. There's so much to see. That's a really big dollhouse. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. I figured out where to begin. It's in the dolls and dollhouses section, because that big dollhouse just is beckoning so hard. That is the most beckoner I've ever beckoned. So while we're here, let's play a house. Yes, let's play a house. So the dollhouse was very obviously popular and kind of a toy that's kind of still around in various forms. And I think this is a good place to start from, going from miniatures to toys. This is kind of a bridge, I feel like, because this is essentially toy miniatures, where all the miniatures we saw before really weren't supposed to play with them. But these you were supposed to play with them, but they're still miniature form, and I still like that. So some of this, as we're seeing right around the first corner, is really old. In the back it says these are from the early 1900s, these dollhouses, which is just, you can, like, they're a little bit flatter, like they're painted on the outside versus like the textures of some of the other ones that we've already seen and we'll see coming up. But it's very neat. And then obviously for some people, dolls can be quite creepy in certain ways. If you look like very close at some of them, they just they do have a haunting soullessness to them, but they're still nifty, I think. They are a little bit creepier when they don't have a body. Got a lot of really old ones. This is apparently from 1860 in England. This is fantastic. And then this one's from 1870 over here. So while I thought that we were looking at the oldest ones, apparently I wasn't even close. And then here is one from 1900. I'm impressed with the scale and size of these things for stuff that's like literally hundreds of years old. But then if I turn around, there is here, Dollhouse model 6168. This is from the 1920s, and we got a button to push. Turns on the lights. Welcome home. Got another old one here from the 1850s, again from England, and I just think the size of this is like crazy. Like this is about as tall as me, and so this is about 6 feet tall, which is just fantastic. But I like this one over here as well. We have an apartment building. I feel like I haven't really seen too much in the vein of apartment building. Usually it's like Victorian style homes. Let's turn on the lights. There you go. And then let's take a look on the back side, see what we got going on in all the apartment buildings. That's great. I love with dollhouses seeing all the individual rooms. I think that's one of the coolest parts of a dollhouse, is like how it's almost like you're getting to see pieces of many types of lives when you see it like this, especially in an apartment building. And I find this fascinating. So this room is looking at a bunch of just dolls that would fit in the doll houses. Sometimes I would say the less said, the better, because like as I joked, it's kind of, some of them are creepy, depending on your opinion. I know there is a certain craftsmanship and style to them, but one that we all have to agree is the creepiest one in the whole place is this demonic, possessed swimming doll right here. But in all seriousness, folks, at the bottom of this big display, something I do appreciate is like you might see it like everyone has a number, like that's number 10 over there, and you can then figure out like what is that. You can learn all about them, see where they're from, give you a little bit of context, and I do really appreciate that. So you can kind of, while some of them do have obviously that creepy vibe, that just tends to be what I think some old dolls tend to give off. Getting the context of them is still, I think, really cool. One more thing with this humongous dollhouse, I didn't realize it at first, is if you go to the side, you can see into the bottom floor over here. Look at that. And then if we go to the other side, we have a billiard room. Starting to get a little more modern, where this one is from 1920s to the 1930s to some in the 90s, like 50s, 80s, 90s, some more kind of relatively modern dollhouses here. Obviously, this is the Barbie Magical Mansion from 1990, but I do think it needs a little more pink. All right, now let's head down to the first actual hallway of toys. And first we're gonna look at some Star Wars toys. Look at all this stuff. There's, again, so much to talk about with Star Wars. Now, I love Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Ooh, they have the Empire book. That's a great series of books. That was like the sequel trilogy before they made the movies. If you didn't like the sequel movies, read the Heir to the Empire sequel books. They're arguably better. Anyway, we got lots of lightsabers, cool things over there. But then across the way, we jump to a very old style of toy that I remember having a version of this where you just like, you take the little plunger and you plunge it down and then it spins. This is neat. Oh my gosh, this is cool. Let's see. Then we got more Barbie-esque type toys. This is the Wonderful World of Dawn. I have never heard of the Wonderful World of Dawn. This is, I guess, from the 1970s. It must be very Barbie adjacent. Like, there's so much. A competitor of Barbie. Good thing my wife actually reads these signs. I just try to go with the flow. Anyway, here you got marbles. The exciting world of marbles. This is great. Now, when you do lose your marbles, they do all end up here. Then we got some more Star Wars stuff, some very classic like action figures that this is all really, really cool. Like these toys, these models, you obviously got a lot of your famous people. You got Han Solo, you got Princess Leia, you got Boba Fett, but like these are like large size action figures, which are just really cool. And then like up here, all these different like scenes and sets, like these are the micro collection, which are just super cool. I got the Hoth Generator Attack action playset, that's wonderful. Got the Millennium Falcon up here. You got so much cool stuff. I mean, again, this is one of those videos where I'm just like, look at that, look at that, look at that, because it is all just non-stop incredible. Here's something kind of timely, the Masters of the Universe toys. It's because there's a new Masters of the Universe movie coming out soon. And so you got a lot of this kind of fun stuff and all these cool play sets that are just like, just 80s kid dark nostalgia. Like, I love this fun fantasy stuff. And then over here we have a really old Disney collection with some really cool old stuff that is just, all of this is fantastic, like looking at all this. And one more case behind me here, we have just some Fisher-Price Adventure People toys. A little bit, I feel like Fisher-Price is more simple, but still a lot of classic stuff to it. Oh my gooseness, oh my gooseness, we have here kinetic sculptures with buttons to push. This is, yes, go ahead, wife. Push the button for us. Make it start to go. Oh my God, look at that go. And the ball's coming down, and then I think it's gonna do some fun stuff. Yes, yes. This is great. You can push more buttons. We're all gonna push some buttons. That one doesn't have marbles. Oh my gosh, it's lost its marbles. It went into the marble case over there. This is, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I love these things. I feel like these are things you'd see at like the Museum of Science and Industry, places like that, just the way it moves. Like I could, as a kid, sit and watch these type of things for hours. When I was a kid, one of the things I loved that I had was the Kinetic Big Ball Factory. And when I had that, that was basically this idea with Kinetic. It was just fantastic. I love the way this moves. And on to the South Gallery, which as you can see is, I believe, their rotating exhibit currently of the Nostalgia Awakens. So for the record, I'm here in the winter of 2026, so by the time you come here, it might be a different rotating attraction, but here at least they're showing you a lot of the fun Star Wars stuff. So I think the Star Wars stuff we already saw, I think might be permanently there, where this I think is like extra Star Wars stuff to like, that is here for extra special display right now. This is so cool. They got a Millennium Falcon here. They got these awesome old play sets that are just like, these are the ones from like the original time. Like this is 1978. Like this is right after the first movie came out. So like really cool old stuff. I really appreciate these big displays that they make in these big boxes to like really let you see it and also see that it is like they put that background in there to really sell the scene. But I love these cardboard backings, these that like really like try to give you the scope and the sense of the place. I think that is so fun. Like all of this is great. There's some stuff I'm seeing in the back that's gonna be really cool. We got the cantina scene. Looks like, yeah, if you look back there, you can definitely see it. Greedo shot first. Over here we have the Death Star set right here, which is really cool. Again, this is all from the late 70s, which I think is very neat. And then over here we have the Jawa Sandcrawler in the back. Again, 1979 over there, and then this was 1979 as well. I just think these toys from the 70s are fantastic. The way they look brand new, but stylistically, of course, from the 70s. Very cool. And then we're moving on now, I guess, to more of the Empire Strikes Back stuff. So we're getting to the early 80s with those toys, because all that stuff was obviously after the first movie. But then we got some more Hoth-related stuff. That's what I was gonna say. Look at this. Look at the Tauntaun with the open belly rescue. That is literally the greatest thing I've ever seen today. So here we have Boba Fett's Slave One spaceship. We have some more Hoth-related sets over here. I think this is great. Then over here we have interesting things that this is an interesting one. Okay, let me go back for a sec. This says this is about stuff that like was just out of camera range. So like these are inspired by Star Wars movies, but they weren't based on anything actual from the saga. So they're kind of like adjacent in idea. But these are still, all these are still from like the early 80s around the time, which is just really neat to see. But then something right next to this that I think is awesome is they have this humongous mural of the Star Wars timeline, and not just like the movie, but like they're talking about like when the ideas came about, when they actually started making them, like what was happening in certain months, when they started to have like the toy. This is like again toy related, so like talking about when the action figures came out and when like certain different waves of characters were available. And like obviously I can't tell you all of this, like standing here and reading this, like this could take a very long time. But I think this is awesome that like it's giving you a little bit of history of Star Wars, but with the focus on the toys, the action figures, and when those all came out. I think that is so cool. Oh, and it does, let's see, it does talk about something that I think is neat. Something I have always liked is that the original name for Return of the Jedi, if you can see right there, was Revenge of the Jedi. And I know there's some posters out there that say Revenge of the Jedi, and I think I like those posters. I think that's cool. But that's actually why they called the third movie Revenge of the Sith, as an homage to that. That's something I know randomly. And then in the corner over here, they have a bunch of old advertisements, like paper advertisements for all the toys from Star Wars. And then they also have on the screen old Star Wars toy commercials. Like these are awesome. They are just, old commercials are the best. Just had to take a second to look closer at those paper advertisements because this is from the 1980 Sears Wish Book catalog, which is fantastic. But then you go over here, this is from the 1982 Montgomery Ward Christmas catalog. Like, that is just wonderful. Still got so many more toys to look at here. I mean, there's still so much. Because again, so far the toys we've seen were from the first two movies, from original Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. But then I believe, I would assume, we're getting to the Return of the Jedi stuff, which, yes, I can see it from distance. We got Return of the Jedi stuff, where you have more stuff from there. So like, you know, still early 80s. So like this is from like 83, 84. A lot of fun stuff. Oh, we got a Rancor from 1984 here. A whole Jabba the Hutt playset. Like, obviously, like Star Wars, cash cow if I ever saw one. But like, there is just unlimited cool old stuff, I feel like, from the Star Wars franchise. Like, look at these action figure cases. Those are fantastic. We got a laser rifle carrying case. This is a carrying case. Like, if you look closer on the inside there, it's like for little toys inside of it. So that is just like, I just don't feel like they make toys like that these days. Honestly, I don't have children, so I don't know. Maybe they do. But what we have here is just so cool. Like, the size of some of these toys, like this Imperial Shuttle, humongous, wonderful. And then we have a few more toys over here. So much just non-stop cool stuff in here. Like, this rotating exhibit was truly wonderful. So going back to the permanent exhibits, we have Toys Incorporated, the making of an industry, that I think talks about the toy production and how it evolved. Like, this looks like the beginning of an industry, like this is like 1800s type of stuff, like talking about that and how you just had like wooden rings and such as a way to just like make toys. But then walking into the main thing over here, this room gives you a really full history. Like, we starting with some fashionable French dolls, again, 1860s, to the Industrial Revolution. Looks like there's a lot more like metal work and such like that. Like a lot of American cast iron toys, which I think is very cool. I've always loved cast iron banks and collections of things and such like that. There's so much cool car stuff. Like, this says New Leaders for a New Century. So like, I guess Germany really took over the global toy market in like the early 1900s. So there's just so much here. Like, I can't show you everything. I mean, I'm trying to like make it so like you could pause and try to look at everything, but like next we have wartime toy making, which is again so much just interesting stuff. There's so much to look at here. We got the rebirth of an industry. This is the end of World War II and where that went, and how like again more kind of like metal work with the toys. I see a cool Mickey the Magician, looks like a bank there. Oh my gosh, this is very cool stuff. And then over here to the modern industry, modern Game Boys from the 80s. But like, oh my gosh, this is so cool what we have here, like old video game systems, cool stuff like that. I mean, if you want to see some good video game history, watch my video on the at the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas. That's a good video. There's a clicky thing up there to see that experience. But like, there's so much great toys here. I mean, it looks like they almost ran out of space. They could keep going with the modern stuff, but this is just such fantastic stuff. And across from all that fun stuff, we have from plastic to play, where they have this really cool like mold type of thing, and they have the piece of plastic at the bottom, and like you can put like the actual like mold. No, it's right there. Oh, it fell off. And you can see how like the molds are used to make these plastic toys. I think this is really cool to see. So here we have the anatomy of a toy, which is this neat little interactive where you move this thing, and then what do? You push the button once it's over it, and you push the button, and then based on what it does, it like pretends to scan it, and then shows you like how it's made. It gives you a little video about how like Matchbox cars were made, and you can do it with all these toys. Like, we've already been in here for about an hour. Like, I did not expect this museum to be as full of an experience as it has been. So this section is called Toys from the Attic, which kind of focuses on like stories of American childhood. So like dolls and planes and like stuff that you would probably eventually, like toys would get relegated to boxes in the attic. And again, it's one of these places where like, oh my gosh, there's just so much to show you. Like, there's lots of dolls or like stuffed animals, a lot of Raggedy Ann and Andy type of stuff. There's, again, it kind of, got some Muppets, got Fozzie. Love when I see Fozzie. But this is talking about like the birth of the teddy bear and the idea of that. There's just so much great stuff in here. I want to show it all to you, but again, like with lots of my videos, you owe it to yourself to come to these places to really get a full sense of it. There's just too much cool stuff. Like, look at this. These are like die-cast like trains and planes and like sets, like these car sets where like you'd wind it up and it would go around. And again, this is like really old school, really cool stuff. Like, my gosh, like there is unlimited neat things to learn about and see from like what we used to make toys from. Like, here's war toys, some really interesting stuff in there. Skillful play, so old school games. I love old school games because sometimes they had to put a lot of like art and thought into it and how it moved, and like it just, there's more going on, I feel like, than just a simple Candyland as we see these days. Over here we have like Lincoln Logs up at the top over there. Love me some good Lincoln Logs. This is cool. The world of science. My gosh, there's just so much to look at. Literally, with that microscope, there'd be so much to look at. This is neat. They have a fun interactive, the game of games. So there's like questions about different old school games, and then like you can flip them. So like, what early trivia style game posted practical questions attributed to the wisdom of the elderly family members? You know? It was obviously Grandma's Game of Useful Knowledge. That was my second guess. But next to those games where you can actually get some of those like answers is this case full of really, again, old school games, some really neat stuff. We have so much interesting things like go to the head of the class. Look at that. A really old version of Clue. I love this. Old Monopoly, which still looks pretty much like regular Monopoly. There's honestly so much cool stuff in here. I love this old school stuff. This is neat. The game of Uncle Sam's Mail. That's basically Ticket to Ride, but for mail. Moving along back to some other galleries, they have again more great stuff, more displays of like here's a bunch of 1970s toys. Again, just nonstop, nifty, thrifty stuff. And then on this side, we have 1960s toys. We have like light brights down there. We have cool, what's the word I'm looking for? Hot Wheels leading the way. There you go. So much neat stuff. Like when you look close to see like what they have here, what you could find. More board games, Mousetrap down there. This is so cool. Let's see, over here we have 1950s. I'm going a little backwards, I guess, just with the time here. But like, it's some of the things I think is cool because you don't know exactly when these are from until you see it in a display like this, like erector sets. That was from the 50s, I guess. I couldn't have told you that. The idea of that is insane because I feel like it's precursor to like Lego and Kinetic, which is my bread and butter there. There's just so much great stuff in here. I got some marionette puppets as well. And then across the way, we have 1990s stuff. Oh my gosh, this is basically my grow-up era, because like, of course, they have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, of course, right over there. We got My Little Pony, we got more Masters of the Universe, Rubik's Cube. Fun fact about Clutch, I can solve a Rubik's Cube. If you ever see me in the wild and you have a Rubik's Cube on you, I will solve it for you. There you go. We've got Polly Pockets, so many fun different things. Oh my God, Buzz Lightyear, of course, which like, when I grew up when the first Toy Story came out, and I definitely treated my Toy Story toys like they were alive. They got Crossfire. Oh my gosh, Crossfire. You don't want to go to the Crossfire. 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 Yeah. Gosh, I'm a 90s kid. Got a neat little section here of optical toys. So like things that were like, what's the word, like zeotrope, I believe it is, where like they spin around and make like, looks like movement and cool shapes like that. Like, let's see, turn the crank and look through the slots. Oh, let's see, does that work? Does that, yeah, you can kind of see it. Am I going too fast? Maybe too fast. I can see it with my naked eye. I'm not sure if you can see it with my camera eye. But then over here we have some of the more obvious things that you might know, like, you know, like the Viewmasters and such like that, or stereoscopes. If you know the Carousel of Progress, you might be familiar with that kind of thing. But there's just like cool viewing toys over here. And then of course we have some peep shows. So do we dare take a look? Let's see. That's not as It's fine. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So peep at that, and then peep at this. Moving on to the North Gallery, I'm seeing some more Dollhouses as well. So looks like we're getting to some more like airline-based kind of things. Again, I think we're sometimes going with different themes versus certain eras. So like a lot of horses and like airline stuff over here, which is pretty neat. There's some pretty neat stuff in here where they got like junior typewriters and like a switchboard thing, old type-a-tune, if you will. But I love this one up here. This is the Alpine Express from 1965. Look at this thing. It's got like little bus trolleys on it, and it looks like it would go up these ramps over here. That is, oh my gosh, I would play with this forever. And then this section's pretty neat. So they have kind of like what it was and then what it kind of became to some extent. So like this is a 1900 grocery shop store. This is a 1947 supermarket store. Like here we have a 1926 doll and then a 1991 Cabbage Patch doll. And here like, here's what a toy stove looked like in 1890, and then here's an Easy Bake Oven from the 60s. Like a lot of neat stuff. showing like the different eras and how they changed. Like here is Exploring New Frontiers, where like in the early 1900s we were probably all about cowboys and horses and such like that. And then we moved down to, again, Star Wars figures in the 80s and things there. But the thing I like here is the building our imaginations, showing how like blocks started very simple, and then we became, this is a 2014 Lego, and like, so we have a lot more building tools. But even over here, an old spelling board from 1886 down to the Speak and Spell from 1984. And then of course we have prizes inside. I think that's a neat one, where like the type of toys you get in like Cracker Jack boxes, and like this says from 1920 to 1969, and then like Happy Meal toys in the 80s, which still, that's relatively old, but look at the quality of those toys. And obviously I feel like they're trying to get back a little bit on McDonald's bandwagon with those toys today, but it's just, it is, as I've said in many other museum-like videos, I love seeing the progression of time in one place. I think that's something this museum is doing very, very well. So as we exit through the gift shop, there is, of course, so many fun miniature things you can buy here. Like lots of World's Smallest like toys, games. They got obviously some like cars and trains you can get. They have a whole Star Wars section, of course, given that this is the Star Wars stuff going on right now. Some branded merch over here. They got a cool mug, pencil, or pen and such like that. But they have these really cool DIY miniature houses that you can do, so you can like make your own little miniature scene at home. This is great. They have a little study over here. I really like this one. This is a flower house as well, and there's just so much like cool mini stuff. Like jumping over here, you can get like mini books. You can get good luck minis. I love the good luck minis. So like different animals. Like they got starfish, penguins, some interesting stuff there. Also, if you want to go full nostalgia, you can get some Rock and Sock and Robots. That's fantastic. And then they got this like really nice case of stuff where you can get like, you can get some really nice marbles. You can get some Pyrex inspired trinket boxes. You can get some different instruments here, which I think is good. Like these are all only like 20 bucks or less, which I think is pretty good. I mean, that grand piano costs 56, a little bit more, but like for these to only be like 20 bucks, that is awesome. This is so cool. So thank you for coming with me around the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures. Now this place was great. It was kind of like, in a way, two museums in one. We're having all the miniatures on one floor and the toys on the other. So if you like one or you like both, you got something great here to find. Like there was so much cool stuff in there. Like honestly, we were in there for about 90 minutes and I felt like we were going a little bit fast. Like if you really took the time to read everything, look closely at everything, you could spend like a few hours in there. There's even scavenger hunts you could do if you really wanted to with the magnifying glasses, which I thought was just absolutely adorable. But that was a lot of fun. I'm so glad I found this place. This is so cool. I love miniatures. I love toys. I love museums that are quirky like this, as I've said. So like, what a great place. So if you do want to see another great museum that is more focused on miniatures, but that is wonderful, I have one. Let me see if I can say it off the top of my head. The Mini Time Machine Museum of Miniatures. I got it in Tucson, Arizona. I got a whole tour right here where I went around there. Wonderful place. But if you want to see another video that involves some fun miniatures, this one is good too. So hopefully I'll see you in one of these in the near future. But until that time, I'll just say for now, goodbye. I am still Clutch.